Run from it. Destiny arrives all the same.
And now it's here. Or should I say, I am here.
The like button right now, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your popcorn, folks. This is going to be a wild ride. We all remember these horrifying images that flooded the internet, showing how Hezbollah and Al-Qaeda terrorists held captured Americans in the deserts and threatened to cut their heads off one by one. Just let this sink in. USAID was providing these terrorists with the funds to carry out this madness. This is mind-blowing news because many NGO monitors and non-profit think tanks knew that USAID was flowing US dollars to terrorist groups in the Middle East for years. I had a few Democrats tell me that they did not see any problems with US taxpayers' money going to assist terrorist groups around the world. This was very bizarre. Who are these people? Have you ever met anybody like this? Why are Democrats angered and violent over Doge and Elon Musk's teams that are exposing this fraud? Thank God President Trump was able to defund USAID and fire these incompetent workers that literally sent billions of dollars to terrorists, knowing they were terrorist groups. The Democrats have hit an all-time low. Wow, their ratings has hit the slums, ringing in at 21%, the lowest approval ratings in the history of the United States. You can attribute this to TDS or Trump derangement syndrome. How could USAID workers be so dumb as to send money to terrorist groups, and where was the police and the investigators? Well, the answer to those questions will rock your world as you know it. Over 85% of all the federal government workers are Democrats, or they donated to the Democrat Party. Okay, let's put everything back into perspective. USAID has been accused of being the biggest money laundering slush fund for the Democrat Party, and that's why over 85% of the workers are Democrats. It makes sense. Let's get into our video for today, featuring Mr. Roman obliterating USAID during a recent congressional oversight hearing. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and support our efforts. I hope you enjoy the video. Thanks.
In 2023, only 2 years ago, it received a $78,000 grant from USAID, despite openly working with the terrorists who orchestrated the 2008 Mumbai massacre in India. Worse, the offer and grant came after the USAID Inspector General launched an investigation into a prior grant to the same group, the Jamal Trust Bank in Lebanon. The USAID dollars helped pad the pockets of this financial institution, later designated by the U.S. Treasury Department as a terrorist sponsor for sponsoring Hezbollah. This was no mere oversight. It points to a broken system that handed cash to a future terror financing entity. Some graphical evidence. Behind me, you'll see the Bayadar and Unlimited Friends Association, two groups in Gaza. Members of the Gazan charity Bayadar cozy up to senior members of the Hamas Politburo, like Abdul Salam Haniyeh, the son of slaughtered Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, credited as one of the planners of the October 7th attacks on Israel, which kill Israelis and American citizens. Meanwhile, UFA officials have called for their lands to be cleansed from the so-called, quote, impurity of the Jews. You'll see behind me 4 images which don't just show members of Bayadar and UFA associating with members of Hamas, but also USAID officials, employees of the U.S. government, receiving awards because of their cooperation with these two Hamas-linked entities. You even have a Facebook post from a few years ago, which is the USAID office in Jerusalem celebrating their relationship with a Hamas entity. I can't find anything more disgusting. And as the ranking member said, we're looking for evidence. This is not a conspiracy. This is a U.S. government communication. Lastly, masking the money trail. Billions of dollars in USAID grants are lumped under miscellaneous foreign awardees, making it impossible for Congress, the media, or the public to track who's really getting the funds. According to public testimony in another hearing in this Congress, a portion of this money has ended up in the hands of Al-Qaeda affiliates in Syria. How does this happen? The oversight conducted by USAID is as weak as a house of cards in a windstorm, like handing out cash in a dark alley and hoping it doesn't buy trouble. USAID's vetting system is archaic, relying heavily on self-reported data with no real-time checks or teeth. Primary grantees are entrusted to vet their own subcontractors, even when those grantees themselves might sympathize with radical causes. In places like Gaza or Sudan, groups with blatant extremist affiliations slip through because the so-called gatekeepers have no incentive or even an ideological desire to shut them out. This isn't a glitch. It's a feature of a broken system. And here's the kicker. It's a problem caused by bureaucrats now threatening American interests at home and abroad. It's not just about fraud, waste, and abuse. This is a threat to American national security and potentially criminal, and this committee should take action to ensure that the Department of Justice acts on it and does everything it can in Congress's power to not just investigate, but refer criminal actions to the proper authorities. Thank you.